Greetings, my name is Blaze and welcome to my channel. If you've not been here before, I talk about thoughts, theories, and my interpretation when it comes to things that I'm interested in. For today's topic, I wanted to talk about costumes and whether or not they're appropriate, because I believe some costumes out there are not appropriate. In the United States, we've had tribes living here long before this was the United States. Apache, Cherokee, Navajo, Iroquois, Sioux, Pawnee, and many others. Some people collectively refer to them as Indians. I don't use this term because Indians are people from India. I'm sure you could use Aboriginal American, maybe Tribal American. I'm going to say Native American for the rest of this video. I don't mean to offend anyone, it's just the term I'm most comfortable using. It was brought up in social media that some Native Americans don't want us wearing costumes that reflect the actual clothing of their heritage and culture. And I think that is a reasonable request. I'm not sure everyone feels that way, but enough of them has voiced it, and it's starting to get some traction in the media. And I think that's fantastic. Historically speaking, in the United States, Native Americans have been treated horribly, like horrifically and inhuman. Even today, the reservations, the conditions are inhuman conditions, and I cannot believe that this government allows that to happen to these people. And I would highly encourage you to research how you can support your local reservations, because again, the conditions are just terrible. The request to not wear their clothing as costumes, or anything resembling their clothing, because let's face it, a lot of these costumes are not accurate depictions of Native American clothing. That got me thinking, how many other costumes out there are inappropriate, negative stereotypes, and presenting images of these cultures and traditions that are sacred in a mockery kind of way? I don't believe costumes started that way. They might have, and I'm sure some people wear them as a joke or to make fun of cultures. But I also think some people don't know any better, and it is innocent. I think they're just trying to have fun. We're fast approaching Halloween on October 31st. This is also referred to as Iha Hauna. And then the following day, November 1st, is actually Samhain. During these holidays and traditions that we have, not only religiously and spiritually, but even as a country, culturally speaking, from the US, we dress in costumes. Now, there's many reasons to dress in costumes. Yes, it can just be party going and having fun, but there's older traditions that has to do with scaring away evil and negativity and demons and creatures from the other realm. During Samhain, the veil between the worlds, especially during this entire month even, and November and October, the veil between the worlds is supposed to be thin, so beings from other realms can travel back and forth, including the dead. I think people pick costumes because they either like it, they like how it looks, maybe it represents something to them that they enjoy, maybe they like what they're trying to dress up as and they wish they were that person or culture or creature or being or character. But again, some of them are in bad taste, and I don't think it's just the Native American ones. Let's take a look at some of these and talk about them. So this is some examples of some of the Native American costumes. People don't know what the feathers represent or the jewelry. They have no idea what tribe it's associated with. I'm sure there are individuals that do know it, but why would you wear a costume like this? Is this not a mockery? I think this is the type of thing that is being requested for us to not wear anymore, and I kind of support that idea. But it's not just the Native Americans, like I said. Look at these. So here's Chinese costumes, supposedly. Again, stereotyping. You've got some Arabian stuff here. You got the German one at the bottom, the Rastafarian one. These are cultural ones that just don't seem appropriate and are in bad taste. But these costumes are out there and readily available. Of course, these are not the only examples, but these are pretty bad. Let's look at these. So this group here is types of people within cultures. The one that stands out to me the most, because it kind of hits close to home because of my heritage, is this top left corner here. This is supposed to be a Viking costume. So first and foremost, this is not how the Vikings looked. Not everyone in Nordic Scandinavia, Germanic area were Vikings, but those that were did not wear outfits like this. They didn't have horns in their helmet. That's a misconception from an opera that got stuck for some reason. Again, stereotypes and misrepresenting culture. Even in media, a lot of Vikings were typically depicted as being these brutish barbarians that were just raging madmen. And that's just not accurate. You know, people went on a Vikinger for many reasons. They went to settle, to explore, to trade. And yes, they did do raiding. But this is not an appropriate representation of those people. And to me, it almost seems like a mockery. You have the knights here. Again, nobles of Europe. Let's look down here at the pirates and the samurai. These are not very good depictions of people or cultures at all. This one is particularly annoying because this is supposed to be witches. Witches are active today. This is an active path. People practice witchcraft today. Most of it's rooted in European traditions, but to depict this as a witch is very offensive to those who are witches. Some might not even care, but the long nose, the warts, the long chin, the nails, the teeth, the old-style hat, the green skin, this is a very negative, stereotypical depiction of a witch, and it is inaccurate. Even when it comes to different religions and spiritualities, a priest, nun, rabbi, and a deity, I feel like a lot of these costumes are in poor taste. And there's many other options out there. Now, when it comes to movies and media and comic books and video games, you can still dress up as characters, and depending on the character, it could be from negative stereotypes associated with cultures and what people assume that that culture is like. So you can still fall into this trap even with those types of costumes. Now, you do have like generic kind of monster costumes that you could try to wear instead, creepy kind of horror things. There are also different types of costumes that I think can be a little bit more tasteful in their adaptation when wearing for a costume. But I would encourage you to really put some thought into what you're wearing. Regardless, I don't think there's any one right solution or answer, and maybe you don't feel any costume should be banned. Maybe you see like, hey, they're meant in good humor and jest. It's not meant to be offensive. So do we want to ban things just because some people are offended? Or do we just want to try to be more tasteful when we do try to wear costumes? Like, what's the right answer here? But I would like to hear your thoughts. Put your comments below of what you feel when you look at these costumes. Do any of these strike you as being offensive? Would you ban any of these? Should it be broader and should we ban more costumes? Where do we draw the line? What is acceptable and what is not acceptable? What's going too far? I think as a society, sometimes we can be too sensitive and we need to have a balance. I don't think we can go to either extreme. I don't think we should just go nuts and crazy with these costumes if it is offensive and inappropriate. But on the flip side, it doesn't mean we should necessarily ban anything that even mildly resembles someone's heritage or culture, because we're going to have influences from things that we see and do and watch and read about. Thank you for watching. Consider thumb up, liking, and subscribing, and more videos coming your way.